Hello everybody, thank you for having us. We are in fierce competition, I heard, with Donald Trump. He's speaking right now. I don't know if he was aware that we are holding this panel, but it's probably okay because he's gonna probably talk about the opposite of what we do. We are talking about equality in certain ways, especially in financial and financial sustainability, investment, women and money. We are launching next Monday a big initiative for an educational initiative to tackle the taboo topic of money, which is apparently, I didn't know that, a taboo topic for women, which we should change. An important role in that project has Olga Miler here. Olga, she founded a startup which is called SmartPurse. She calls it Weight Watchers for Money. It's really easy. It's online, and she can talk about later what her goals are with that. She was working for UBS before in marketing for like 6 years. And she's working now in Luxembourg, but I guess I'm not allowed to say where, or you don't want that. Just SmartPurse, the rest is not important. Is that right?
Important is that we are here. I will tell about that more later.
Okay. And the other person on the panel is Tillmann Lang. He's also in startup business in finances, and he calls himself a sustainability activist. He's founder and CEO of Yova, and they promote, or that's the project.
We provide investments that are focused on sustainability impact alongside the financial return to everyday normal.
And you started when?
We started roughly 2.5 years ago in Zurich.
You're based in Zurich. He has his education from ETH in Switzerland. You are a mathematician and informatician, and you worked at McKinsey before for 6 years too, I guess. So, and now you're both independent. And myself, I'm the editor-in-chief of Watson News. That's the biggest online news outlet in Switzerland, and we kind of have a pretty different approach than the other news outlets. They are like linear mass media tradition, which is a male-dominated industry, and all the outlets, you see it in the front that it's male-dominated. It's not really attractive for women. I can say, for instance, when there was a women's strike, a big women's strike in Switzerland in June, we with Watson, we really supported that. We were supportive of the women in our company who wanted to publish about it and make an event of it, while I know of a lot of women in other companies that didn't get quite the same support. I say it like that. And next Monday, we start a blog on Watson. Olga Miler writes it, and she will let all the female, also the male Watson users take part in her knowledge how to deal with money. Is that right? You looking forward to it?
I am so excited. I couldn't be more excited, and I tell you why. This is my third panel in this lounge, and I'm an expert on money, and jointly with a marvelous woman here in the room, I changed a 150-year-old bank, and for, I don't know, years we've been always talking about the subject of money. Only today, I sit here to actually not only talk about what the issue is with women and money, but to launch a solution. And the solution that hopefully will bring Switzerland forward. Yes, you hear right, one of the richest countries on the planet has a financial education rate of 50% only, which means every second Swiss person is not really financially literate. And I couldn't be more excited to do this with a partner like Watson and Yova, because I think women will change the world if we manage to change the world of money. Super excited to be here today.
Can you tell us a bit more about what the challenge is, or what is actually the problem with women and money? I heard that all the banks who give out microcredits, like in India or somewhere in developing countries, they mostly or even only give out credits or loans to women because they are paying back the money more securely. And I don't really get it. What are the reasons that there is a lack of financial education with women in first or third world countries?
The bottom line challenge is that we as women engage in short-term finances, in the everyday money management, budgeting, household bills payment. We very rarely engage in the longer-term financial planning, which is so much necessary to secure an independent future for ourselves, but also for society. As an example, 6 out of 10 young women, that is the millennial women, so not people like me, but the millennial one, voluntarily delegate financial planning responsibility to their partners. In Switzerland, in this country, only every fifth woman shares long-term financial responsibility with their partner. So we as women voluntarily delegate our right to advance in society because, as I think Tillmann will speak about, where you put your money is as important as where you vote politically. I believe that our personal investment decisions are as important as the views we express with our vote. And the bottom line of this all is then that women end up 5 times poorer at the age of retirement because we have pay gaps that develop into pension gaps, that we are less financially secure, and that we can be trapped in a situation where we just don't advance. And the biggest problem is that we even pass on this insecurity about money, or this, I would say, long-term financial planning gap to our children, which then obviously lead to a generation of equally financially unconfident women.
Okay, thanks. Before we talk a bit more about how to solve the problem, I'm a bit interested in where are the barriers? What's keeping women from, thinking about their pension funds and how to invest their money? What is it?
So in my research, speaking to hundreds of women and surveying them, it was predominantly 5 things. Lack of time, sometimes household circumstances, a feeling of being overwhelmed because the financial services industry hasn't done a great job in simplifying language, and it's kind of, do you speak bank, Maurice? Knowing all of the acronyms, all of that. Sometimes it's also a matter of feeling that he is better with the money, so feeling incompetent even though we are not at all. Research shows that women are better investors or equally good as men are when they start to invest. And finally, a feeling of, sense of too late or I don't know where to start. So it's very simple, practical reasons. And finally, there hasn't been anything that would make it remotely interesting. I don't know about everyone here in the room, but I definitely do not get up every morning and think, this is the day where I will get awesome with money. There usually are like 5,000 other things that I know what I would be doing. Being awesome with money is none of them. And so I think we just need to make or find a way to make financial knowledge interesting for people, entertaining and fun. And this is where you guys from Watson will come in for this initiative, because you can do that.
That's what we do with all our 3 companies. We're working together, and maybe that's where Tillmann Lang with Yova comes in. You said it's kind of boring, or it's the user experience of a bank is predominantly in a male tradition, and it's just not really an ambience where women are attracted to. And then Tillmann comes in. You are kind of devoted to making access easy for investment.
Yes, that is correct. So Yova is actually a company that was intended with the idea to promote a more sustainable world through investing. And the whole topic of women is just one that is intricately connected to that. So what we actually provide, what Yova provides, Yova stands for Your Values, because it enables people, and people are really everyone, regardless of whether you have knowledge about the topic, money, or a lot of money or little kinds of money, to make it possible for them to invest their money with an impact onto sustainability. And we think that the accessibility and everything that Olga talked about is super important. So what we find is actually that the fact that people don't invest enough, or financial illiteracy, that's not a problem that is only there for women. It's just that it's much more pronounced for women. So women tend to invest less. And we think there are many reasons for that, and Olga mentioned a couple of them. But it's also just given to the fact that a lot of the opportunities out there, the services out there are really tailored towards the needs of men and not really that attractive, or that's something that we find that we have a lot of investors among our customers because we just approach the whole topic of investing differently. And the main difference, the way we tackle it, is that we try to fill the investments with purpose, with meaning. And that comes from the core realization that any kind of investment you have, and that includes the money on your bank account, always has an impact. Because even if that cash is sitting in your bank account, it is financing something, and that may be something good or maybe something bad, like exploration of fossil fuel sources in the Arctic. You have no way of knowing that right now, but it does have something to do with your life, it does have something to do with your future. And what we do at Yova is we put this impact on the same level as your financial return. So we say it's not only important that you prepare for your future so we can overcome the wealth gap, but it's also important that you invest your money with the kind of impact that you want to have. And just by this little twist that we think is actually just a big gap in the traditional financial world, just by having this little twist of also making it about the purpose, the intention of what does this money actually produce, what does it finance, what does it achieve, we find that already motivates a lot of women to engage in the topic because it just speaks to something that they care about, and it just takes away this abstract technocratic nature of money, and especially this bad feeling that you don't really know what the money actually does and who benefits from it.
But that's kind of sexist, right? I mean, that shouldn't appeal not just only to women, but also to men. Do you have you've worked in the...
If I just may add to that, it does appeal to men too, there's no doubt about that. So it's not that Yova only has female customers, we just find that we have our share of female customers is ridiculously high if you compare it to the industry average. It's also not 50-50 right now, we're about a third, but it doesn't only appeal to women, so that's certainly true.
Oh, but that's what I'm interested in. Also, is it that much of a reason to invest that it's sustainable? Is it that much more important to women than to men, like in general, or for the majority? What are your experiences with that? You have worked in the field for like 6 years.
Tons of research, 8 out of 10 women claim or express the wish to invest financially responsibly. 7 out of 10, yeah! And that is the intent, only about 3 out of 10 actually do it. That's why we need more solution to actually make this accessible to people and make it in a simpler way. For that matter, 7 out of 10 women also want to invest in companies that are gender equal or promote actively gender equality. So the intent is there now. To come to your point, Tillmann, it's not just the women, it's also the young people that crave these solutions. But I believe that you can't invest responsibly if you don't know how to invest at all. So for me, financial education and giving people the confidence that they are taking the right decision is the currency of change that then can be picked up by all these great sustainable investment products and tools that might be out there to make the capital flow. And if anybody in the room wants a figure, when I was working at UBS, we estimated how much it would provide in terms of capital if all of the women that claim to want to invest responsibly also would do so. It was over 2.3 trillion. So that is a massive force that will only get stronger, and therefore I'm absolutely convinced that we do have the power to change the narrative beyond talking and pledging if we make our money count. And financial literacy is the first step to get there.
Let me ask you this: what is the relation between expected profits and sustainability? I mean, if you can invest in a sustainable asset and the profit is like, let's say, estimated like 3% over 10 years, or you could just put your money on the weapons, on the oil, and the outcome is like 30% more in 20 years. Do people really say, okay, I take the sustainable investment and it doesn't make me that rich, or the...
No, but that's maybe one of the wrongest, or one of the biggest misconceptions out there. It doesn't cost you anything to invest in sustainable assets. That question in academia is done. So there have been studies over studies, and there are big meta-studies looking at thousands of individual studies on top of that have looked at the question, does it cost you financial return if you invest responsibly or if you invest sustainably? And the answer is no, it doesn't. And that question in academia is totally done. So there's no trade-off between being conscious about what you want to invest in and achieving a financial return. So that question is long gone. You don't have to give up financial return just for responsibility.
Okay, I'm sorry for the stupid question.
No, it's an important thing to figure out because it's a widely held misconception.
Okay, no, I was just asking because of the power, the electricity situation in Zurich. There's like sustainable electricity and it's very expensive and nobody's buying it, although everybody's running around saying, I want a sustainable electricity. That's why I'm asking. We have like 10 minutes left. Maybe we can go a bit more in the details. I would like to ask you, Olga, what are your first steps if you have like an audience? Probably, let's take me, I'm not female, but I'm also a financial illiterate. Where would you start to like bringing knowledge to me and getting me to, you know, plan my funds or plan my investments?
You asking how I would make you financially confident?
How would you approach me and how would you to get me to engage with you? Because I'm really not really interested in the topic, which is probably bad for me, but nobody's come along so far and told me how to do it. So I thought, okay, now I must do it. And that, I guess that's what SmartPurse is in the end. You know, you want to reach people. Traditional services do not really reach out to.
Absolutely. The secret to that is to connect the money to life. Not to talk about the money, but actually talk about the life that you are having and then make it relatable as a topic. If financial literacy is as intuitive as who goes to the gym here? Hands up, anyone? Yeah. So if it was as intuitive as doing your daily exercise to actually be good with money, then it becomes a very natural habit. So I would first and utmost make you understand the role that money plays in your life, teach you how to talk about it with confidence, because we learn a lot by just sheer exchange about money, as nobody has eaten all of the wisdom of the financial services industry, even though we might pretend to, and then make it relatable. You talk about stocks. Well, stocks is a very abstract thing. What are you passionate about? Chocolate? If I was to tell you what a chocolate company actually does and why it is a good investment, it will make it immediately relatable to you. And that is where I think we need to take the conversation. And that is where I think that we need to go new ways to find a different language, how we talk about financial education to people.
Thanks. And where do I get started with you, Tillmann? How do you get me to invest? Because I'm not really convinced in investing. I would say I better, bury my money in the garden, then it doesn't do any bad. Whatever I spend the money for, it's going to create some carbon dioxide exhaust.
Okay, yeah, good point. So it's true. So you bury your money in the garden, most probably will not do anything bad, depending on which kind of wrapping materials you use. But the thing is, so actually what we do is exactly what Olga just said. So we try to make it relatable. So if you invest with us, for example, you invest directly into companies that solve global problems. So you might invest in a wind turbine maker, and the next time you see a wind turbine, you feel good. It might actually be the wind turbine maker that you've invested in. You feel good because you're actually part of the energy transition now. Or you might be investing in a company like SAP in Germany, which is the leader in gender equality, and it's a tech company that is continuously outperforming on most dimensions for gender equality in an industry where everybody says it's impossible to achieve gender equality because it's tech, and women aren't really in tech. So they're actually showing the way, and you can become part of that. It just becomes much more vivid and relatable by connecting into these kind of things. So that's something that we do, and that's maybe the thing that we're strongest at, combining that with a good financial return, by the way. The other thing that we do is just helping also people understand some basic truths. And one of the basic truths is that the worst thing you can do is not invest, because if you bury your money in the garden or keep it under your mattress, you are losing money. It's not that you're not winning money, but you're actually losing money because it decreases in value over time. And then there's just so many other misconceptions. I don't know enough about investing to invest. I don't have enough money to invest. I'm too old to get started. The only sensible thing would have been to start 10 years ago. All of these things are not true. You don't need a lot of money. You certainly don't need a lot of knowledge. And one thing you can trust, that most of the people that brag about everything they know about investing in Bitcoin, they don't know so much more than you. They might just be a bit more willing to take the plunge. So just make sure you find a good provider. We think Yova is a good solution, and we can tell you a lot more about it. And then you should just get started. Investing is like everything else. It's like going to the gym or learning a new language, whether that's Bank or Mandarin. It's about getting started, taking the first step, gaining experience and learning from that and getting better over time.
Okay, thanks. And there's one more question. How transparent are you at Yova? If you tell me, if you give us the money, we put it in that wind turbines company. How are you making sure, or in a company that has like gender equality in tech or something, how are you making sure that what you're actually selling is actually what you are selling?
So we're by far the most transparent provider that you can find out there. It starts with the fact that you see each individual company that you invest in. So you can make sure that there are no black sheep. You can make sure that you know what's going on. You can actually influence it by telling us, you know what, I don't want SAP because maybe they fired my aunt or my uncle and I just don't want to invest in it anymore. So you have this feeling of transparency and control that you usually never have, because usually some fund manager takes the decision for you, and you don't have to be overly cynical to ask yourself whether they really have your values and your interests in mind when they do. So you have full transparency of where the money is, where it is invested, what it achieves. And in addition to that, for these individual companies that you invest in, we provide you with the information of why do we now think that this company has a good impact on gender equality? Why does it make the world a better place in terms of gender equality? Why does it help fight climate change or help with deal with the consequences of climate change? Why is its impact on biodiversity positive? Why is it a good case for showcasing that human rights can be protected and you can still create great products that sell in the marketplace? So we provide this information on our platform.
Thanks. How is this with SmartPurse, Olga? If you're saying you're trying to financially educate women and there is like sustainability or sustainable possibilities to invest the money, how are you making sure that when you get women to invest, that they invest in sustainable assets or investments?
So SmartPurse is a strictly speaking neutral financial education tool. We do not recommend any providers. We teach people how to select the right provider for them. And in that sense, we would not only feature Yova, we probably would feature 5 providers, because we are a tool based on absolute independence and neutrality. There is nobody that will call you afterwards. We are a tool that teaches you good financial knowledge in a digestible and easy way. And in that sense, we empower people to have a choice. And that's how we make sure by the time they are empowered, what choice they take is then up to the people. Obviously, the community that sits inside SmartPurse, the community of women, can make one or the other recommendation. But I firmly believe that financial education is a thing that has to be neutral, that has to be provider independent, and that has to be fully transparent. Because having spent 15 years in the financial services industry, one of the key challenges we as an industry have is people's trust. And my way to get on about cracking this money taboo topic is to actually re-establish people's trust. And that only works if you have the safety and security that no broker will call you afterwards, try to sell you one or the other fund.
Thanks. Where is management? Are we strictly cut off after 25 minutes or maybe have like 5 minutes extra?
Just keep talking.
I get 2 more minutes? Okay, then we don't have time to take questions on the stage, but I'm sure you'll be approachable afterwards. Then I would like to ask you one last thing. If you see the people here who have listened and are obviously interested in the topic of sustainability and also gender equality and financial literacy, what would you expect or ask them to do when they walk out or somewhere later in their life, what can they do to help achieving your goal?
I think, looking back to 3 years that I come to this lounge today, there are no more excuses. 3 years ago, we were talking here about the Gender Smart ETF that was launched. It reached 140 million invested into gender equality in 8 months only. So my message to all of you is this: take action and take charge, because the solutions are here. They are great new tools like we heard now. They are new financial education platforms, like I have built one, and they are super supportive media partners that carry the message out there. And I would just love that we don't need to have another panel about the taboo topic of money, but that we would have a panel about all the great things that the money has achieved for you individually and the planet. I think it would be the most amazing thing to do.
And my call to action is just for you to take action and use investing as a tool to promote a better world for the future. Use impact investing as a tool to do that. And at the same time as a tool to prepare yourself for the world you live in. So it's just a very consistent story, because you're taking care of your own future by equipping yourself financially, but you're also making sure that the future that you will live in is one that is actually livable by your own standards. So don't shy away from that. Start as soon as you can. The chances that you will regret it long-term down the road are very, very slim, much more than regretting not starting. So just to use that tool, take action. You don't need a lot of money, you certainly don't need any kind of knowledge. The one thing you need is the first step, so that's my wish, that you start impact investing.
Thank you very much. I think we had interesting insights from experts in financial industry and sustainability. We talk to each other later. Anyway, if you want to ask them something, they're approachable. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.